I'll testify.
Where is,
Okay, we will reconvene into business session. First item is the president's report. Board member attendance, Kathy has an excused absence for tonight. And our next board meeting is July 19th, on a Wednesday. Next item is administrative reports. Summer projects, Superintendent Cronin.
Well, just to give you an update, the gymnasium floor is complete. We should be able to bounce basketballs or volleyballs or run on it starting next week. All the trim is in, everything is finished on that end. With the deluge of rain that we've had, we've been monitoring the ceilings in there, and everything is held up so far. We have not had the leaking issue that we had. I am awaiting the report of the engineer at this point, though, on that. He is out of the office at the moment, due to return later this week, and so I'm eagerly awaiting his report.
I assume we're going to act on that as quickly as we can?
Yes, we'll see what he has to say and go from there, and see what kinds of options and things are out there for us. So, but we've been diligent about making sure that drains are clean, that there's debris is not building up in there. The energy efficiency project is being finished up. There were 3 contingency items, meaning items that we did not complete during the normal course of the project because we were waiting to make sure all of our costs came in correctly, and so now we're completing the contingency items. We've just gotten done with Complete Control installing 2 new AC units, one in a 3rd floor classroom and the other in the Sonata's Information Tech head end room. Those 2 units are replacing window units that are outdated, inefficient, and actually the one in Sonata's IT head end room is replacing 2 window units. So we are leaving one of the window units in place as a backup. It'll only run if the temperature in there spikes, but otherwise those are up and running. The other piece of the contingency that we're finishing, we had money available to do about 17 more light fixtures in the high school with LED lighting, and so we picked some areas that the lights are either on all of the time because they're security type lights, or like stairwell lights and things like that, or areas that were the length of time that they're on is considerable. Hallway lights that are turned on at 6 a.m. and not turned off until 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night. So we only had 17 units to work with, so we just hammered out some high use areas. So that's it for this year's energy project. The roofing's completed, so we're moving on to next year's at some point once that state budget gets finished, and we'll move on to next year's at that point. Other items, just summer project type items that we're handling. There will be some painting done here in the elementary school in the hallways and bathrooms that we are looking to get done. Additionally, we've got painting going on in the high school in several classrooms and areas. The driveway at the high school, or the parking lot area, needs a reseal. The cracks need to be sealed. It needs to be seal coated and painted. We're almost without lines now on that parking lot and areas, so it's time. And we've got some cracks in there that have developed that have not been sealed yet. We're also looking at replacing a concrete step that's by the high school kitchen entrance with a ramp, concrete ramp. The step itself is disintegrating. It needs to be replaced one way or the other, so either with a step, but being as that is our main loading and unloading area for the kitchen, we're looking to ramp that instead, and we're able to do that and keep it compliant at the levels for ADA, and so we're looking at putting a ramp in there rather than a step. It just probably makes more sense, especially with that being the delivery area. Beyond that, the high school cleaning is started. Elementary cleaning not yet. We've got summer school going on here in this building, so we are moving ahead with all of those projects.
Do you anticipate there being any substantial work to modify classrooms for the move in fifth grade?
We're already working on that as well. That's going to be kind of part of the cleaning process, is getting those rooms in shape. We're moving several things around in the high school building, so I don't necessarily see any major modifications,
Okay.
but we've already got
Mostly furnishings and.
mostly moving furnishings and getting those pieces in place. Yep.
All right, very good. Next up is end of year activities, summer school. Principal Christie.
So, as far as the end of the year goes, the middle school students took their annual trip to Mount Olympus and were met with pretty decent weather, luckily, for their almost last day. I think it was the second to last day of school. At the elementary school on the very last day, PIPO graciously volunteered again to come in the afternoon. We had tons of parent volunteers that we broke the kids into groups, K-5, and they did different units and stations with games and activities and obstacle courses, things like that, while the teachers were in their classrooms and got a chance to start to clean up. So it was excellent. They ended up with having popsicles at the end of the day, and all the parents, again, we really appreciate how much they stepped up to help. We had a lot of parent volunteers for that last half day of school. As far as summer school goes, we literally had the kids had 1 day of summer vacation. They were back at summer school, so I asked them how their summer vacation was the first day they came back, because they had one whole day. Teachers had their in-service day, their record-keeping day, and then we started, because of the snow day push, we didn't want to move summer school back, otherwise they'd be coming back on either the 3rd or the 5th of July, and we knew there would be no attendance for that. So last year, our summer school numbers we had 86 kids enrolled, and this year we have 92. So our numbers are pretty steady, hanging on there. We have our remedial math and reading classes, which are actually a lot of fun. I see the kids having a really good time in those classes. We have a fitness class and a cooking class and a clay and a crafts class. So they're doing enrichment things in addition to the academics as well. So we have a very good turnout, and the kids seem to be having a good time.
All right, thank you. Next item, questions and comments from people in attendance. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board? All right, nobody signed up, so, okay, on to the consent agenda. Number 7, consider approval of minutes of past meeting. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Right.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, consider approval of financial reports. Is there any gifts this month?
Just wanted to report on 2 budget addendums. I just wanted to let you know that a budget addendum will be posted per DPI requirements in regard to the 2016-17 energy efficiency project, which includes the utility savings and non-utility savings. That's a requirement by DPI that will have to be posted. And then there was also a budget revision just to regarding the donation from the Lions Club for the audiometer.
All right, with that, entertain a motion to approve the financial reports.
I'll move.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, so on to new business. Number 10, consider approval of 2017-2018 employee contracts.
On behalf of Ms. Christie and myself, we ask for your approval. All of those people have passed our background checks and been through our processes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
And a motion and a second to approve the 2017-18 employee contracts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of mutual agreement with Deanne Borsky to reduce 2017-18 contract from full-time status to .63 FTE part-time status.
I would recommend that you accept that mutual agreement reduction. I have, just so Ms. Borski knows, we did change that day from Monday to 1 day per week prearranged on that language. And that we moved Ms. Borski at her request to part-time status.
Is there a motion
So
to
moved.
approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just want to let you know that your efforts on behalf of the children of this district are deeply appreciated. And if this is helpful to you, we'll do our very best to make that work. Thank you.
In the short term, and please know that I will be looking beyond that to make sure that all the
All right, with that, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of 2017-2018 administrative and administrative support employment contracts.
The contracts that you reviewed in the closed session and as presented.
Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of 2017-18 co-curricular staffing plan.
The co-curricular staffing plan, dealing with our coaching staffs and our other co-curriculars such as drama or student council. I'd ask that you approve that plan as presented to you.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of 2017-2018 employee handbook change.
The employee handbook change that we're presenting at this time, and there will be some other employee handbook changes later on, but this particular one we wanted to get taken care of because this deals with the insurance program. This would change the HSA contribution amounts were set to sunset at the conclusion of this year and not necessarily be renewed. I'm asking that you renew that for one additional year for contributions to the employees for their HSA plans. In part, we're doing that and keeping the HSA plan in place in that manner because we don't really know what's going to happen with the state budget at this time. The state currently, the assembly version of the state budget does take out the employee mandated premium contributions. It takes that out of the language. The Senate piece, I know there was some consideration there on the Senate side. However, we're not sure, that's something the governor certainly proposed in his budget, was to basically make there be a mandatory contribution to premiums. If that happens, it really turns upside down the program that we put in place to create savings. We created savings for the district and for the employees, and we went to a high deductible plan. The reason we created the savings was so the employees could fund their HSAs and take care of the premium, or take care of the, not the premium, the deductible. So we created quite a bit of savings there, again, both for the district and the employee. If the governor's plan in that manner passes, it really turns that upside down on the employees suddenly. And just kind of preps us to be able to react to that, to adjust our program accordingly if we need to. We're, just in general on the state budget, right now the Senate and the governor are probably closer to a similar budget than the Assembly is. The Assembly really has gone its own direction there. So we're not sure that this budget's going to get done by the end of this month. So. And again, the HSA language will only be in place for one additional year at this point. So,
Then we revisit it.
and if we'd have to revisit it, we can revisit it. Yep.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Tracy, seconded by Carrie. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Authorize 2017-2018 spending at 2016-2017 budget levels beginning July 1st, 2017.
You know, this is our catch-all because we do not know we do not know what our state budget is, so we are kind of stuck in our budget process as well. And again, because we do such a late data for our annual meeting and pieces, it's not always vital that we have everything quite in place. And we don't really know a lot of the numbers until October anyways. So this motion allows us to continue operations. So the way the state budget works is the state budget continues operations as well in Wisconsin at the current funding levels. And then when the new budget's passed, then it reverts to the new budget. But this will allow us on July 1 to open the doors and continue working. So,
And we need a motion for that, right?
So moved.
Yep. And a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of release of 2017-2018 purchase orders.
this approval allows us to start the purchasing processes for this next year. And then really even the things such as taking care of the parking lot and buying textbooks or other classroom resources, this really allows us to begin that process. And of course, it'll be based on last year's budget at this point. So,
Entertain a motion.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Item 17, consider approval of 2017-18 property, liability, crime, automobile, linebacker, umbrella, cyber coverage, and workers' compensation insurance plan.
I would also ask that you include in that inland marine. That's part of the entire package. Our insurance did go up quite a bit this year. Primarily, that's due to a change in our. You got that?
Yeah.
That's primarily due to a change in our workers' compensation rating. That rating for workers' comp is calculated from a period of July 2013 through July of 2016. Now, I can't get into specifics, but we did have at least 2 or 3 significant claims during that time. We didn't have anybody lose a limb or anything, but there were some different claims in there that were quite significant on our rating. And thus, because our rating has increased from a 1.19 to a 1.50 in insurance lingo, that means that our rate went up just over $12,000. So, and that really is the majority of the increase. Our property did increase a bit. The property increase is really related to, it's inflationary and based off the value of our property. So the value of our property is actually increased, so that's where that comes in. And not by a lot, but it did increase, so there's a bit of an increase in that insurance. Just to explain a couple of pieces, if you opened your packet and saw the insurance summary in there, inland marine, just so you know what inland marine is, that's kind of a goofy term. Inland marine is basically shipping of goods. That's insurance covering the shipment of goods either via air or via train or like land-based. So that's what it's called, inland marine. It's really the shipping of goods. It's not a big cost to us. General liability is just what it says. It is our general liability policy. We also have an umbrella policy included here. The umbrella piece is what is called catastrophic liability. So that's kind of a kicker on our liability policy that increases that coverage. Linebacker policy is omissions and errors, but it also is the policy that kind of it basically indemnifies the staff and the board. That is, if somebody's done something wrong, this is the insurance that will go out and defend that or pay it. However that works, that is that insurance. So, and the data compromise cyber coverage, that did go down in rate. That was almost halved. So that we saw a decrease by half. That's our data compromise. So that again covers data losses. If we have our data compromised, or if our systems for some reason are compromised and we need to recover things, that's what covers that. So overall, we do have an increase, and again, the vast majority of it is workers' comp related. We are going to, Lisa and I have talked, we're working on maybe some seminar type workman's comp, I don't know how to say it, in-service time with our staff. We did do this a couple of years ago with staff, and we'll continue that, again, make a new concerted effort, especially in our, with our maintenance, our food service, those areas, but we will actually get to the entire staff and make sure that that message gets out there. We want people to be safe on the work site. So, and really, none of our bigger claims were because people were purposely unsafe. There was nothing out there that was of that nature. So, recommend you approve the insurance coverage.
All right, entertain a motion to approve insurance plans.
I so move.
Second?
And a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative Agreement.
So we have been a part of the CISA 2 Purchasing Cooperative. And that one's kind of maybe a misnomer because it's not the CISA 2 piece. It's only a cooperative because CISA 2 is the cooperative. It's not a cooperative because we get a voice in that. But we are, Lisa Moen has done quite a bit of legwork in looking at our purchasing. The group that was part of the CISA 2 cooperative, CISA 2 for their cooperative was looking to potentially increase their rates and change how that is set up to some degree. So quite a large number of schools decided to basically form their own purchasing cooperative to keep the fees low. And so it is really an effort amongst quite a few schools across the state to do that. So I'm asking you to approve the 6603 so that we can remain a part of a purchasing cooperative. And we're going to now it's now going to be the Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative.
Do you know how many schools are involved in it?
Yes. I want to say it was 60 plus some that are still waiting to hear back from. Wisconsin Rapids would be our next closest neighbor that is involved in that cooperative. But they go everywhere from Beloit to DeForest to Necedah, Mosinee, Milton, West Bend, all over, Waterloo, Valders, so Royal, so quite a few schools in that cooperative. So, and it will have the same purchasing power that the CISA 2 group had, but again, the effort there was to that now under the 6603, the member schools now have more of a voice in this process, and also, and that really affects what our fees will be down the road, because currently the CISA 2 program, CISA 2 controls that, not the members of that purchasing piece. So I would ask for your approval for that.
Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Tracy, second by Carrie. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, opportunity for individual board member comment. Leo?
Isn't necessarily a school-related item, but it's a Port Edwards-related item. If you haven't already noticed, we're about to open a new business venture in town in the old Red Owl Hardware Store, CLF Youth Group Center, depending upon what generation you belong to and how long you've lived here. This is a firm called CyberOne. It's a data security firm. Nothing like this sort of business exists anywhere in the central Wisconsin area. It's something that a lot of local businesses are hoping to use to back up their business records, their financials, their data. Joe Clark's son-in-law, Richard Adams, is one of the partners in this business, and it will be a real asset to the community, and I'm looking forward to welcoming them here. They hope to open in early July, and I think they're expecting to have some sort of open house for the community. So I'd encourage school people as well as parents and community to make Richard and his business welcome in town.
All right. Carrie?
Probably not directly school related, but just a quick comment on the, what I think it would have been a 12U, 10U, and a girls 10U tournament that the PIVA Association ran down at Ripple Creek this weekend. Actually, it was just Friday night, I think, and then Saturday. Was down there for about half the day on Saturday, and I think it was, Ben Martinson has done a lot of good with that program and has really done a nice job. The tournament was just a fantastic little tournament, some very competitive ball. Our kids showed very well, was able to umpire one of the games. I think Max umpired a number of games, and a bunch of the local young people in Max's range umpired some games. So it was really nice to see that activity down there. They raised some money for the association. I mean, all of my kids have played in that, and I've coached in it many times. Very nice to see that we had a very nice gathering down there. And then just a quick comment on the Black Hawk Scramble that is going to be coming up on Monday. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to have a team in that this year because it's been a little too busy at work, but still sponsor a couple holes. So anybody else that's not signed up for the Black Hawk, go get some golfing on Monday, right? Monday. So that's all I got. A little winded today.
I just want to congratulate our seniors that have graduated this last year and say what a privilege it is to stand up there on stage with them, as this is probably one of the biggest steps of their life accomplishments. So it's kind of neat to be up there shaking hands and giving hugs.
It's a good point. Forgot about graduation. It seems so long ago.
It's about
It was a nice little graduation.
I was going to say that.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for everyone that was involved in graduation. It was in the small gym this year, and it was a very nice, with the small class, it was a very nice venue and went very well, I thought. Yeah. All right, with that, we'll go on to establish future board meetings. Next board meeting is July 19th and then August 16th. We want to schedule September. Anybody have any preference? What is the normal September date? 13th. Sounds good. Yeah, 13th, September 13th.